Amy had asked our format for the meeting. We're very informal today. We have Chef Raphael from Lunetta, and we have Sharon Townley, the owner of Pause and Effects Pet Spa, and also the chair of our Pico business organization. And we wanted to ask all the attendees, if you're not talking, you all have kindly muted yourselves. That's perfect. If you have any questions, we'll keep our eye open. Just raise your hand and we'll acknowledge you and you can contribute. Let's see. I am recording this. We're going to post it for anyone who couldn't make it today at this time. And I think that's about it. The rules of the road.
Okay.
Okay. So, Chef and Sharon, I'm wondering if you wanted to know, since we have Andrea, Daniela, Erica, and Trang, and we're not that large a group, were you interested in knowing where they're from or having them introduce themselves, or should we just chat?
As you like.
You go ahead, Raphael.
Okay. Good morning. Pleasure to be here. Just here to answer questions, talk about our experiences through this process. If we can answer any questions, please let us know. And if there's any questions that in regards to moving forward, any information that perhaps you may have for us, let us know as well. And really just here to support each other and communicate within our community. And you know, there's been it's obviously been a challenging time, but there's been some very you know, very positive experiences and examples of people doing things during this period.
Great. Well, my shop was closed on March 20th, and so I've had to furlough my employees and help them navigate the process of applying for unemployment, and also explore all the options for financing and the disaster relief that's available in order to get through this process. Spent a lot of time negotiating with my landlord, vendors, and dealing with the finances in those ways. Also trying to make an attempt to be connected to our clients and make sure that they know that we're doing our best to be available to them as soon as we can, and that we're going to be ready to ramp up as soon as we're allowed to. So those have been some of the challenges that we've been working on. So do you guys, hi Daniela, nice to see you. Do you guys have some specific concerns? Let us know what you're working on.
I have a question for you. Can you hear me?
Hi, yeah. Daniela, go right ahead.
Hi. I'm by the way, I'm just a neighbor. I just live in the neighborhood.
Hello,
Hey.
Good to see you.
Hi. We've been doing takeout, by the way, Raphael.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I can't live without those greens. I don't know what you do to them. I can't make that at home.
We're expanding the menu to do a brunch menu on Saturday and Sunday, and we're starting to get back in this mindset of coming back to life a little bit and trying to create some momentum, some good energy, and as I mentioned earlier, just some purpose in every day. And with that purpose comes definitely momentum and enthusiasm.
Good. I'm happy to hear that. Has the community been supporting you? This
community is amazing. This community is,
right?
And when I opened Giraffe in '96, downtown Santa Monica was much different than it is now. And I wanted to be in downtown Santa Monica, and I had an amazing experience down there. But this community has been truly wonderful, and we appreciate this community. I mean, I appreciate the community so much.
Oh, I'm so happy
So
to
thank
hear
you.
that.
I think that Pico in general is an amazing community and a neighborhood. Of course, part of the reason also that I want to be connected to this group, because it really does foster that sense of community, but for sure a huge part of our success as a business is the relationships that we create in the community.
Mm.
Well, Sharon, the question I had for you is, wow, what's the name of the other place on 30th? They're open. How come you're not open?
Yes, that's a good question. We were talking about that a little bit before everybody joined on here. So the mandate in LA County is that grooming is not essential unless it's performed by a vet in a vet's office, or there is an exception for pet retailers that sell food, because pet food is essential. And if you're grooming in a store that sells pet food, you can continue to groom. So even though we do sell some food, it's not the reason that people come into the shop. And I felt that it was going against the mandate, because really what we're trying to do is not encourage people to come out when they don't have to. And then the other super important reason is because, as you know, my grooming area is really small and I can't keep my groomers separated from each other. So we couldn't be safe and be open, and we really needed to follow the mandate. So that's why. I can't speak for why other businesses are open. Obviously, I have some opinions about that, but I want to keep it positive here.
But what if you had like only one person there at a time?
I'm sorry, say that again?
What if you had only one person at a time? Would that not, I mean, what if you had like an AB crew? I think that's part of the way
I could do that,
businesses
but
are
there
coming
are
back.
also financial considerations about the way we
Oh.
run the business. You know, I mean, it's one thing to not be profitable during this time and another to be financing the business, which is what I would be doing if I only had one groomer.
Okay. All right. Well, we miss you.
Oh my gosh, we miss you so much. How's Junie?
My dog is like, she looks like a cloud.
I know. They're all going to be really short in another month, trust me.
Oh my God. I was trying to negotiate the other day with my husband to use his clippers. He was like, are you crazy?
Hi there,
Anyway.
welcome.
Hi. Hi. It's Amy and John from Treats at 17th and Ocean Park.
Oh, fantastic. We're so happy that you're here with us. And we were talking about some of the challenges that we're having, especially as far as the navigating the finances and what's going on with your employees. Do you guys have specific challenges? How are you dealing with things?
We're in total denial. We've been closed. We had a family friend who was one of the first who was hospitalized at UCLA with coronavirus, who happened to be the parent of our daughter's friend, and our daughter had been at a party, and we just felt that it was sort of, we just felt like we had to be socially responsible, and we closed immediately. We closed really early because we felt like, how can we serve people if we don't know if we have anything? So we just started, we closed our doors and started quarantining early. And then, a few days later, we cleaned out all our machines. And we've literally been trying to figure, we've had a lot of customers contacting us, wanting to know if we're opening. We also had customers who were like, hey, we're at your door, are you coming back? And then 3 days later, I saw on Facebook, and I love these people, but they were like, the husband wrote, my fever finally broke I'm finally fever free for 24 hours. So while they were knocking on my door, they were fully contagious with coronavirus. Because so we I have asthma, we're not young. And I just really, we keep going we have to open, but do we really want to open? Do we want to get the coronavirus? It's just been every day it changes for us.
Well, right now it's still day by day. I mean, LA County is until May 15th, so we know it's May 15th for sure. hopefully we're aiming on that being able to at least ramp up and be open a little bit. You know, whether it's under new circumstances or not, I don't know. What do you think, Raphael? Are you going to do things differently about the way people are seated in the restaurant?
Well, there were more new cases yesterday than we've seen. Excuse me. There were more new cases in LA County yesterday than we've seen, prior. So, although it feels like we're maybe on a bit of a downslope of this, I think we're still going to be into this for at least till the 15th. Your second question, I'm sorry, was.
Are you going to do anything differently seating wise?
Oh, that's a great question, and we spoke about that yesterday prior to the gentleman I used to help us with some PR, and he had sent me an email in regards to how restaurants were going to have to change things. And I'd been sitting with Bella from Chinois the night before. It's these small restaurants that are going to, or these small spaces that are really going to be challenged with this. Yes, absolutely. The requirements now are the tables will have to be 6 feet apart. Servers will have to wear masks and gloves. Kitchen will have to wear masks, which they do in other parts of the world. That changes the dynamic of how you taste things, you know. And when you're in the kitchen, you've got to taste things. Obviously, you do it in a way either with a plastic spoon. We don't put our fingers in our mouth anymore and do it like the old days, you know, the movies in France. But it's all going to change. So saying that, when I even think about putting a menu together when we reopen, it's going to be a menu that has less steps. It's going to be a menu that we've got to rethink all of this. But I'll tell you, the interesting part about all of this is whatever didn't work before that you were doing, that you kind of were stuck with, that you couldn't change, now is the opportunity to change those things and to kind of, you know, and I think that goes for all of us. I mean, we either accepted things or there were things that were in place that we just said, hey, it's this way. But now there's an opportunity for us to look at what didn't work and to be positive and to adapt into new ways to make things better. We've always been very, you know, I'd say very thoughtful and very specific in regards to health and health department. But you know, in our practices, but what we're dealing with now, let's take it one step further. And I think that'll be beneficial for everybody. It's just like, you know, doing your prep or all of that. Doing the work up front really makes the back end easier. So this is an opportunity for all of us to do that, you know, to look at everything, rethink everything. And as I had said earlier, you know, perhaps some kind of schedule to every day. What's happened is it's given us a lot more time to either have with our families, with ourselves, to really kind of take things down a little bit and get out of that frantic kind of rush that we were in. We were so busy from November through March 1st, and we really never had a chance to catch up. So we're doing all of our maintenance work, all of our repairs, all of that stuff right now, which is keeping a few people employed. We spoke about being relevant a little bit. Now is a time where, you know, you do take that time to spend with your families, with yourself, to improve things, but also at the same time, give yourself a little bit of a schedule to do what you need, what you weren't able to do during that period of time where you were so busy, things were so frantic. So I think that, you know, by no means do I want to say that, you know, but there's something to be, there are methods that we can use through this process that we can better ourselves, we can better our business, we can look at things that weren't working before, and we can apply those things to reopening. And it's not going to open the same. We're going to open much slower. Our volume will probably be down by 50%. If we're going to have to limit tables are going to be, you know, our seating capacity is going to be cut down by 50%. I think financially people are going to be in a different place. But the positive is maybe people have been in so much that they're going to be really excited about going out. But there's also the reality of the financial side of that. Where
Yeah.
is spending? Where's our audience? Our audience was an audience on the all day side that was, a younger audience that is probably being greatly affected by this. So there's going to be a lot of methods of learning how to adapt to all of this. But
Are you currently doing home delivery via?
yeah, through Postmates and DoorDash, and then we're doing a curbside pickup that we decided to start doing 2 weeks after we closed, we closed March 15th, that Sunday night. And I wanted to take a few weeks to make sure, just as you had mentioned, everybody was good, everybody was healthy, know a little bit more, learn a little bit more. Everything was changing every day. But we are doing curbside and we are doing delivery, and it just gives my core team a little bit of a purpose. But I'm only doing it I only was doing it 4 days a week because I wanted to give our staff that time to recharge and to have some downtime and to be sensitive about that.
Yeah.
And
How has that been successful? Do you feel like the curbside are you finding there's an openness that the customer feels confident about receiving food that's not prepackaged?
so I drove yesterday down Pico, drove by Trader Joe's, saw probably 45 people waiting to get in. That line from the end of the queue was probably about an hour. Then I jumped on Olympic and I saw the line around Trader Joe's on Olympic, and it was also very long. To think about waiting in that line next to other people, shopping, going home, cooking, washing dishes. No, thank you. That's a lot of work. Are people confident about getting food to go? I believe they are. We did a lot of research early on to see what the possibility of this being foodborne and how contagious it is, and it's obviously very contagious. But once I got comfortable with that, I felt reassured enough where making sure that our delivery drivers weren't able to get in the bags. We seal every to-go box with a sticker. We seal every bag with a staple and the sticker. We wear gloves. We wear masks. Nobody comes in the restaurant. We deliver to their cars, either in their trunks. But people have been amazing. They've been very kind. They've been very, very supportive. As far as whether it's a viable business, not really. It's not. We're doing it once again to create purpose in our lives, some kind of schedule, some kind of opportunity for us to connect as a team and think about what we're going to do moving forward, how we're going to adjust, how we're going to adapt. And it gives us a chance to connect and to stay connected. And I think really right now, that's probably the most beneficial part of staying open. And, if Sharon were to do it 1 day a week, and put an email blast out there, if you were to open up Friday night, something like that, for kids nights out, family night out, and do it for a shorter period of time. Our window is from 4 to 8. We will start brunch this weekend, but to open from 12 to 8, it didn't make sense. Yeah, we'd make another $500, but pick your places. And pick your spots, convey that messaging through, obviously social media, whatever other methods you can use for that. And I think trying to put some kind of structure back into our daily activities, obviously, making sure that everything that we do is following the mandates and making sure that we're keeping everybody safe. But I think we should start thinking about getting back in the mix and being enthusiastic about getting started again.
Yeah.
Okay. So thank you for that, Raphael. I mean, it's inspiring to be able to make some plans, regardless of when that opening date is going to be. And it's nice to hear you even being partially open, for those of us who are entirely closed. And I see that Katie Brown is in the room. Hi, lady. Thanks for joining us. And on that note, I think that maybe we should talk a little bit more about the finances. Are you guys feeling comfortable about the way you're accessing the money that's available to you? Let's just, I mean, you know, this is a pretty small group. Let's have a personal conversation here. I know that everybody has their own opinions, but I think if you're not working, you should absolutely be applying for unemployment for yourself personally. You've been paying for it for all these years, and even if you're self-employed, you're entitled to it at this point because they've changed the rules about that. So that's money on the table for you. If you choose not to do that, that's something that I would definitely encourage. And then when we were talking about the Paycheck Protection Program, which you need to apply for through your bank. A lot of people are sort of in process with that, or if you're unlucky like I am and bank at Wells Fargo, you're in the queue where there's not even an application process in sight yet. But I have discovered that there are several other places that are available to us that are making those loans. And I want to make sure that you guys understand some of the, I mean, I'm not a financier, but I am an accountant by trade and I understand some of those choices that are coming up. So I want to make sure that you guys have the information you need to move forward. Are you feeling comfortable?
Somebody else. I basically signed up for the SBA $10,000, which I hear is potentially being minimized to $1,000. I did that early. It hasn't shown up in my bank account. We just got our $1,200 today. So that was the surprise of today. You're checking your bank account now.
Great.
So at least we got that. I haven't signed up for unemployment. We have a longer story. We actually sold our business last November. It's a crazy story. Our neighbor, we're having a super amicable divorce. Our neighbor got in the way of our sale. We would have been out. And we were waiting for her lease to end, and it ended at the end of the year. And we just started talking to the people who wanted to buy our business again. And then coronavirus came. So we had minimized our staff. We really have, kind of kids at SMC. They don't even want to work that much. They work like 4 hours a weekend. We got 5, we were down to like 5 employees. So we don't have a ton of kids. They don't work a lot. And but also because we were coming out of winter. So for us, it was like, we were going from slow season into, thank God it's going to pick up. And then coronavirus, right? The warm weather is coming, that's our thing. So it's sort of a double, triple hit in a lot of ways for us, because not only are we utterly stopped talking to anybody about purchasing our business, he's never going to get to go back to England. He's dying to go back to England. I mean, it's like a whole new story. So
remember that the Paycheck Protection Program and the SBA loans, you have the ability to pay yourself. If you were paying yourself, you can pay yourself with that money.
Right. So that the Paycheck Protection Program, if I understand it correctly, if you ask for that money, and I thought what I would do early on, if that $10,000 showed up, I was just going to pay our kids what they normally work and not have them come in. I didn't want their germs. I'm happy to carry the load and just give them a few bucks in their pocket, because I'm sure it's hard in all of their homes. So that was my plan.
We're talking about two different things though, because the $10,000 is the emergency advance from the SBA loan, and that money is entirely forgivable. So when you get that money, you don't have to pay it back.
Right. That one I was going to use for that. I didn't sign up for the PPP because of our unique scenario, not knowing, look, the way things are going, we'll probably still be in business in 3 years. He'll never go back to England and he'll be stuck. But if my understanding is, if if I go out of business before 3 years, it isn't a forgivable loan, and then I just owe more money. Is that what you're understanding it to be?
I don't have the ins and outs of that part of it. The Paycheck Protection Program isn't for everyone because that money needs to be paid back within 2 years if it's not forgivable. And you can get up to 2.5 times your monthly payroll. That's how they're basing it on what you get. So for example, if you're paying your employees $10,000 a month, then you're going to get you're eligible for $25,000 for that loan, but you have to spend it on payroll and rent within the first 8 weeks that you receive it, which doesn't mean that your shop may even be open yet. So that program isn't for everyone. It's really intended for people who want to take their employees off of unemployment and pay them themselves instead while they're ramping up without going into debt at the same time. The SBA loan is like a real loan that you have to apply and qualify for. You pay it back over a much longer period of time. It has a higher interest rate, but there's also a bigger portion of it that's forgivable depending on how you spend it. So the ins and outs of the loans are a little bit intricate. But my feeling is, and not everyone will agree with this, but that if you have the opportunity to apply for those loans, you should, because if you qualify for them and get them, that doesn't mean that you have to actually take the money. There's no prepayment penalty on either one of the loans. And if you get the money and figure out that you need it and there was a way for you to spend it, you're going to pay your rent for the next 2 months because your landlord is deferring, but they're not telling you it's going to go away entirely. Right. Those kinds of things that I kind of feel like having more options is better, but it's not going to work for everybody. And also the other reason that I think it's important to go ahead and apply for that money is because it's not going to be available to everyone. There's way too many people that need it. And so if you do think you might need it, I would encourage you to go ahead and do those things now.
Okay. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Hi, Lois.
Hi.
I'm just curious, does anybody else have, like, I didn't pay rent this month, and my landlord association is like, I get emails from him daily, and I'm like, and I filled out all the things I'm supposed to, and it just, I feel a little like I'm getting harassed in a time when it doesn't make sense to me. Is anybody else feeling that?
This is your business landlord?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, part of this payment protection program that Sharon was talking about would be able to cover the rent. It's not as easy. I mean, there's definitely a process of that you have to go through. You've reached out to your landlord?
Yeah, I've reached out. I gave him all my paperwork of lost, what functions and things were. I mean, basically that is my office space, but I also do functions in there, and where either it'll be something I do or that I, charge money for, or it'll be something that someone rents it for and has their own thing in it. Like Tender Greens came and did a big, recipe testing for 2 days, so things like that. So I tried to send them some of the contracts that weren't going to happen. And, and then he said, just this morning, I got another kind of threatening email from him. And I just feel like, gosh, maybe I should just go pack up and get out. I'm afraid he's going to go there and lock me in, and then he'll have all my stuff. And I have applied for the SBA loan, and I'm in the middle.
You're in Santa Monica?
Yeah.
So there is the Santa Monica moratorium. So
that's what I thought. Okay, good. I just wanted to hear somebody else say that, because I keep saying to him, I think you got to work with me here.
Yeah, no, I had a conversation with our landlord early on because ironically we have a neighbor who stopped paying rent, and the sheriff escorted him out a week before, and I just called, and he was a total asshole, but I called the landlord just to say, aren't you lucky you got rid of him last week, because you wouldn't have been able to get rid of him, and I wanted to make sure he knew about the moratorium. And
Also, starting April 24th, the landlord will legally have to provide notification about the moratorium. So there will be notice exchange. There's also a lot of info on the city's website about the eviction moratorium. If you haven't looked at that, there's a sample form for tenants to fill out. A lot of the issues that he's probably faced with is, while there's been concessions to the businesses and the renters, there hasn't been any concessions from the lenders. So if he still owes the bank his mortgage, there hasn't been any relief there. So maybe just sensing.
But I heard that from my landlord, he wanted me to provide him, first of all, he gave me actually a document that I didn't fill fully out because it came from the 3rd Street Promenade and I don't have a triple net lease. So I'm not giving him all my information because I never had to. So I just said he wanted the information because I think there's going to be relief for landlords as well. Mm-hmm. And so I'm hoping that if he gets relief and he can, say you don't have to pay the rent, but that's why he really wanted the documentation from me, mm-hmm. so he could use it to try and get his relief.
Yeah, I understand. I understand all of that, and I get it. That is a process, and
but he shouldn't be harassing you. I mean, I think you have to just send him back the moratorium and I'm sorry, but Santa Monica's already put in this protection. Really, this is hard for everyone. Please, I'm starting to feel harassed or something.
Well,
smiley face.
The protection is really just they can't kick you out right now, but regardless of how much we know about our landlord's financial situation or not, the truth is that we're committed to those leases. We really do have to pay our rent, which is the main reason for you to try to get some of that emergency money. Because if you're like me in my business, I mean, I can't expect a cash windfall when I open up again. And in order to pay that back rent, which I'm not able to pay right now while I don't have any income, I really need the disaster relief money. So that's the best reason to have it, because even if you don't have payroll and you're not paying yourself, you can use that to pay your rent, and then your landlord will be happy and you'll be happy too, because you don't have to pay that money back.
Yeah, I'm happy to hear that. I didn't know that we could use the PPP loan. Not that I'll get it, but if I do, I think we could use it to pay the rent.
The PPP is only forgiven 75% for payroll, so only 25% could be used for rent.
So that still means and
other expenses
in order to be forgiven. But since that money is only at a 1% interest rate, it's still a really good deal. But the caution is that you have to pay it back in only 2 years. So that's still going to be significant. But I feel that for a lot of people, any kind of emergency funds are going to be helpful to be used at your discretion. But it's like I said, time is of the essence. Get that money now and then figure out if you need it or not. Don't wait.
And are you hearing of anybody who's actually getting the money? I know Lana from Santa Monica Music has, I think, an article coming out in Santa Monica Daily Press with her frustrations of having tried. I was literally on my way out for a bike ride when my husband showed me this link. So otherwise I would have gotten Lana on this because she has a lot of information. And so I
haven't heard of anybody getting the Paycheck Protection Program yet. I do know some people have received their $10,000 emergency advance on the SBA loan. Okay. Raphael, what about you?
The PPP is a process, and I was at the bank yesterday. Evidently, there was some additional paperwork that was released last Friday that needed to be submitted. But I just think that you need to be motivated. You need to follow up. You need to check in with your bank. 2 to 3 times a week. I was at the bank yesterday. I've done everything. I applied for it, immediately, as early as I could have before the banks were even accepting it, and many banks weren't accepting it because they really didn't know what how to proceed. It was a lot of admin work for them, but you just gotta go in there. You just gotta spend time. I bank with One West on Ocean Park, and it's new for them, but Carmen Hernandez has been amazing in trying to get everything done with something that she's not familiar with. So it's a process, but no, I don't know anybody that's been paid, but I believe that people are within the process, and I just hope for the best on that.
Great, thank you. What else are your concerns? Katie, do you have other things at the top of your list?
Oh, well, I have another question. The SBA loan, I filled out all my paperwork about, a couple of weeks ago, and they said, oh, you'll hear something in a week, and I've heard nothing from them. Is there have you guys had that same issues, or have you heard anything back from them once you applied, or have you just kind of applied and are waiting?
I just applied and I'm waiting. I actually thought the other day, how do I follow up on this? I was like, I've got my receipt that it was submitted, weeks ago.
Mhm.
And so that's another thing for me just to follow up on today. So if I can figure out a way to follow up on it.
Yeah, that's me too. I'm just in the wait. I've finished the application process, and they keep you updated from time to time. It's just
I haven't gotten any updates. I've gotten no updates.
I'm getting emails maybe once every few days from the SBA just saying that your application is in process.
Oh, I haven't gotten any of those. All
I
right.
haven't either. And I filled it out like 3 weeks ago.
Maybe it's going to your junk mail. It's from the SBA.
I have to look.
I received an email today. It's a general email. It lets you know how to spend the money. And once again, it's been adjusted a little bit today. Chris, you may know more on that, but it was a $10,000 loan or forgivable loan. Now it depends on how many employees you have. I think the difference of opinions. For me, with the number of employees that I have, and to reopen, the payment protection, the paycheck protection plan is the best one. This other loan that Sharon was referring to is also a very good loan. I did apply for that. You have to be careful because if you do one, you may not be able to, do both. But I did see an email today, and like anything, we want to portray a very positive, or at least the government and the media and all of that want to portray, that there's going to be support, there's going to be help, and I believe that there will be. But it's our follow-up that is going to assist us in allowing that to be reality. And I'm optimistic. I'll just say I'm optimistic. Hopefully my optimism is.
Eva.
I want to just highlight some resources that are available, just so that everybody's aware. There's a lot of information on the city's current COVID website under business resources, including we have a local SBDC center out of El Camino College. And so they're doing webinars like daily, talking about the ins and outs of the different loan and the PPP. And they also have free one-on-one assistance. And it's a program supported through the SBA. So if you have any specific questions, if you want to reach out, talk to them. Yesterday, there was a restaurant webinar, but definitely look at some of those resources because they are there and they're trying to help out. They're the experts more in this. And so if you've got specific questions, the city also, DTSM had created that commercial eviction form prior to when the city creating its form. So now the city has its own form and extended the moratorium to the end of May. So there's a lot of new information there. So definitely take a look at that. And then make sure you're just following some of the city's social media channels. Like we just got word today of another $15 million from the PPP that's more accessible, and that's only for LA County businesses. So, and that launches today at 1 p.m. So,
yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, so every hour it's changing by the minute, and there's new
That's
resources.
actually really that's so important because I just saw that that new allocation at 1 p.m. You guys probably all have an email. At 1 p.m. you got to go on and sign up as fast as you can.
For what is this?
So Amy, did I send it just to you or did I send it to the group? I need to exit out of my screen. It was an additional 15 million that Goldman Sachs and that county I cannot exit out of my screen. Hold on.
Let me see.
Here
Okay.
it is. County of Los Angeles has partnered with Goldman Sachs and the Community Reinvestment Fund to bring 15 million in additional private capital to small businesses and nonprofits. It'll be deployed to the PPP, and it's an online portal that goes live today at 1 p.m.
If you guys want to just read off your emails, I'll just forward you. I hope this forwards.
Or can you just send it to Dana? And maybe Dana, can you send it out to all? Do you have the participants' emails that are here or no? No.
No, not really. But
How many people are on this? I don't.
who needs it? Who needs it?
I like it.
Send it to Katie.
Katie?
I'll look at it. I'd like to
Okay,
look at it.
tell me emails.
Katie@katiebrown.com.
Katie?
Yep.
Okay. That
Brown with no E.
And
Brown.
Thank you, Dana.
I'll send the link to the group.
And it's coming from my personal email at Sal Robertson. So what's the other email?
Raphael.Lunetta, Raphael.
Oh, good. 'Cause Ray Fines came up first. Okay. All right.
Raphael.Lunetta, Lunetta, at
Gmail. Thank you.
.com.
Okay, I will send that. now.
And is there anyone else who needed that? Did you want that, Amy? Oh, she said she has it. Sharon, are you okay? You want that?
Yeah, you can send it to me too.
Sharon, so we have Sharon at paws-effect.com.
Oh, wait, sorry. Sharon at pause
Dash
dash
EFFECT.com.
EFFECT.com.
Yeah.
And not to sound like one of Trump's cabinet members, but I am very grateful for this organization, Dana and Sharon. I think you guys have been amazingly helpful, and I want to thank you for that. When I get your emails, it's how I found out that I could sign up for an SBA loan, and just really, really thank you.
You're welcome.
And, it's been helpful.
Thank you. It's our pleasure to do that. And I think before you got on, Raphael and I were talking, or both sharing about how the neighborhood is really an amazing community. And it's a great place for us to connect as colleagues and also as friends, because that's the way that we're most successful in business together and also are most happy.
Agreed.
Thank you, guys. So nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yes. So I think that this meeting is probably getting close to coming to an end here. Amy, did you have something else that you wanted to share?
I did have a question about employees that were 1099s. If there's a possibility of just sending out an update about, just encouraging people to keep following up on loan applications or passing on the information for 1099 employees on how they can apply for their unemployment benefits or whatever, a PPP support. Those things might be helpful. I did pass on to Chris, I think that there is through the LA Arts Council, there's now $1,000 grants that are available for young artists that they can apply for. And then I just kind of have one more question is there any resources available to maybe even email or not email, but to print a handout that can be mailed to the residents of Santa Monica just to say, hey, we're still open. These are your restaurants or services that are available, or, if you're needing help, if you want to support them.
Like that right now. We talked about whether to send out a mailer or actually have it hand delivered, and decided that we're wanting to be safe right now and not encourage the people to be out in the neighborhood, but we are going to send something soon. Dana, do you want to?
Great. Thank you. This has been wonderful.
Thank you.
is that, sorry, wasn't Buy Local doing something about what is and isn't open? Am I,
There's things available through Instagram, there's social media, there's, a lot of that. But there's a certain percentage of population that isn't available through or isn't using the resources of social media in the Pico neighborhood. And so that's the reason why I ask about mailing.
gotcha.
So we will be following up with a link to the recording from this meeting and some of these resources. And Amy, to speak to what you said, and also just generally the group, Santa Monica Travel and Tourism and the City of Santa Monica have both been doing a super fantastic job of including some of those resources. And we're making sure that everyone that we can connect with has those things available to them. So we'll continue to follow up in that way, and hopefully lots more engagement soon.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate you guys all participating in the meeting. Let's be in touch with each other, connect in all the ways that we can, and hang in there, be healthy and
Sorry,
safe.
one more quick thing. I'm trying to send this email, but my computer crashed right before coronavirus and my new computer just arrived. So I'm hoping it goes out. If not, somebody call me.
We'll be seeing you in the neighborhood, don't worry.
If that, Katie, check your private message. I sent it in private
This
message.
thing's at 1 o'clock. So I'm trying to, I don't know why it's not leaving my desktop.
And if it doesn't work out, we'll follow up and we'll figure out what we need and we'll send it out from our Pico.
Or check your private messages. I'm sending it in private messages because I can't figure out how to do a group message.
Oh, and
I got it. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
nice to see you all.
LAcounty.gov for the 1 o'clock thing. So
Okay.
Google LAcounty.gov for the DCPA.
Just check Buy Local Social. We just posted on it.
Thank you.
All right, Chef. We'll
Thank you, everyone.
we'll be promoting your brunch, Chef.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
And we look forward to everybody getting back
You're
to
the
the mix.
best. Thank you,
Thank you.
Chef. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Bye-bye.
Sure, thank you.